And we just got some footage from freediver Steph in French Polynesia, and man, she's done it again. She is a badass on a Polespear, and it looks like she's got another pending women's world record for a pretty damn incredible pelagic fish. And we're pretty honored that she did that with a 9-foot NOMAD roller. So here's some footage she just sent us. Take a look, and man, I hope you guys can understand how badass this is. I mean, people go their whole lifetime without even seeing a fish like this, and she just smacked one on a Polespear. I mean, congratulations, Steph. We're proud of you.
I have had one goal that I've been wanting to accomplish and been working towards, and that was to land a dogtooth tuna on Polespear. The reason why I want to land a dogtooth tuna on Polespear is because for me, dogtooth tuna are the pinnacle fish when it comes to spearfishing. They are the beasts of the ocean. They're so powerful, they're so strong. Most of the time you're diving really deep to get them, and they're only found in certain places of the world. So we were seeing them here in French Polynesia, and it was time for me to bust out my Polespear. I tried last year when the season was hot and there were fish everywhere, and I was never able to get a shot. I was never able to get close enough. And so this year we were at a remote island in French Polynesia, and I was actually doing some work, and Cole decided to go out with our friend Fabian to just check out the new atoll and see what fish were in the area. So they went out for a dive, and they came back a couple hours later, and Cole said, "Steph, get your gear ready. The tuna are here, and it's time for you to go for your doggy on Polespear." Getting a doggy on Polespear is very, very challenging. First, you have to get close enough to even take the shot, and these fish are so thick and so fast, and so you're trying to penetrate through the fish, and then once you hit the fish, they normally run like crazy, ripping themselves in half just to get out of the shot. If the fish isn't stoned or isn't rolled and it starts vibrating and bleeding, within seconds you have what we call a sharknado, where the fish is surrounded by sharks, they're all taking bites, and you're lucky if you get your gear back. You're definitely not going to land the fish. So landing the fish is actually even more challenging than taking the shot on the fish in the first place. So I was like, all right, let's do it. Cole was excited about it. I was excited about it. I said, let's go. So we were loading up our gear. Cole pretty much got the whole dinghy ready. Our fins, masks, float lines, we had everything. We had the flasher ready to go. Both Cole and I use the 9-foot NOMAD roller Polespear. It is super powerful. We've both landed some really nice big fish on it. By far my favorite Polespear that exists on the market, and I've tried all of them. So we had been in the water maybe 10 minutes at this point. Fabian did a couple warm-up dives, Cole did a couple warm-up dives. Cole and Fabian both had reel guns as backup to help keep sharks off, and Cole had his GoPro. I'm doing a breathe up. We have the flasher hanging down to about 10 meters, and we're just drifting over the deep reef. And there was a little doggy in the distance, just over the edge in the blue, and he wanted nothing to do with us. So I never even dove on him. We just kind of watched him and enjoyed the moment. And then a couple minutes later, a massive doggy swam in. Literally in my peripheral, I see it coming in from the side, and I didn't know how big it was, and I didn't hesitate. I just took a quick peak inhalation, a big breath, and I did my dive down, and I tried to dive as quietly as I could. I was barely kicking, I was barely moving, and as I was diving down, I kept my head tucked, just occasionally peeking up to see where the tuna was, and loading up my Polespear with all my might as much as I could. Luckily this fish was very curious. He came in hot, he came right in on the flasher, and he did not care about me at all. Not even a little bit. He literally swam right into the flasher, right past me, and I evened out my body. I tracked the fish with my Polespear, lined up the best I could, and you can see that I actually bend my elbow and chuck the spear at this tuna. So when I hit the fish, I just completely froze because I was expecting this fish to shake its head, vomit up whatever is in its stomach, and then run like hell. So I was getting ready to grab the float line and fight for my life to keep this guy off the reef and keep him away from the sharks. And then I realized that the tuna just rolled. I rolled the fish with my Polespear. I was in such shock, so I pulled it in with my float line. I put my hands around the tail, and tunas have this shake to them when they've been spined, and so he was shaking, and even just his tuna shake was so powerful that I could barely keep my hands on him. So I wrapped my hands around his tail, I wrapped my legs around him, and Fabian swam the dinghy over, and Cole jumped into the dinghy. I swam the fish over to the dinghy, handed him up to Cole, and helped hoist this fish into the dinghy. And the moment that it was in the dinghy, we all just freaked out. I just started screaming. I couldn't believe that I just rolled a dogtooth tuna on a Polespear. Like, it's been such a big goal of mine. What? Thank you, fish. Fish, look at what I just did.
Holy cow.
It's such a hard fish to hunt, to get. It's all about the right place, the right time, the right gear, and we were able to make it happen. And the cool part of it was, to add to it, Cole had the GoPro rolling the entire time, so we got the entire shot on GoPro, because I don't think that many people would believe us if we didn't have the actual footage. The world record doesn't exist right now for women, for dogtooth tuna on Polespear for women. So this will be the first ever recorded dogtooth tuna on Polespear. Took the dinghy back to the catamaran, grabbed the scale, grabbed the measuring tape, and headed into the village. We hung the fish and we weighed it, and it weighed 73.6 pounds. I mean, just an absolute beast of a tuna, and I'm so thankful that it went down the way that it did. A big shout out to Headhunter Polespear, Brad and Mike with Headhunter. They test their gear, they try their gear all over the world, and they have some of the top line gear. In my opinion, it's the best Polespear setup that exists on the market. I've landed so many big fish, and I'm so thankful because I truly put the gear to the test, and it has held up every single time.